TYT Sports, Francis Maxwell here, bringing you some more World Cup news. With Group C, we're going to look at now. We've previously looked at Group A and B, and now we're coming into Group C to try and look at Colombia, Greece, Ivory Coast and Japan. In my view, one of the hardest groups to try and determine between who's going to go through and who's not. Colombia are a big team. Obviously, they're ranked 5th in the world. I mean, I didn't know that personally. That was a kind of shock to me, and I'm considered the World Cup expert. But Colombia 5th in the world, that's pretty impressive. So it's obvious that they'd be kind of dubbed as a team to go through in this competition. And rightly so, they have an amazing group of players. Falcao, one of my personal favourites to watch, and one of my personal favourites to use on FIFA, I must say, when I play him, he's very good. But Falcao is a great player, but he got injured in January, hurt his knee in a game in France playing in Monaco, the big spenders. So will he be in the World Cup? That's everyone's kind of in Colombia, kind of beating around the bush to see whether he's going to play or not. For me, he doesn't need to play in the group stages to get through. I mean, Greece, Ivory Coast and Japan, good, strong teams, but if they're going to need him to get through, I'm not sure. I think they would need him if they were to go further in the competition and try and reach the final stages, which they could be done. But to start off with, they have a tremendous group of players. Rodriguez, who joins him at Monaco, actually racked up 10 goals and 12 assists this year. So I think that with him on form and their captain Yepes leading them from the back, they could be the team to go. They're my tip to outdo a lot of the teams, and I think they could possibly go through to the quarters, if not the semis, with Falcao fit, of course, but to go through the group stages. I don't think they need to worry too much about him not potentially playing. We actually have this, if we get a schedule up, I think their first game is against Greece, and that's going to be a harder game to try and come through. There it is there. Yes, it's Colombia versus Greece is going to be the first game, and Greece, we'll go into them next. They're always in these competitions. I mean, they're the name that's always flying in there. They're like the fly in your face, you can't get rid of them. They're constantly playing. Not to offend anyone, I don't think they're the greatest team in this competition, of course not, but I've been watching players like Georgios Samaras in my favourite team Celtic, and he's been a great veteran to us. Thank you a lot for that, Georgios. But cut your hair and shave your beard, thank you. But he's a good player, and he seems to step up to these competitions surprisingly, because he doesn't step up against lower division Scottish teams, but it somehow steps up in the World Cup. So, but Greece are always a tough team to get off. They're like that. They're always that gum at the bottom of your shoe that you can't scrape off. They do manage to put up a good fight. And then you've got the Ivory Coast and Japan in this group. So my next team who I'm going to tip to go through is Ivory Coast. This is why. If I was to choose one player out of this group to spearhead a team through, it would be one player in general would be Yaya Toure. Big fan of him. He's a monster of a man. I definitely would not like to take him in a 50-50 tackle. Neither would I like him running at me full speed. And he spearheaded Manchester City through to their second English Premier League trophy in 3 years. He is a great player. A lot of people that I looked at in Bleacher Report and other reports said that he's a great ball winner. That is very true. I mean, if you're 6'4", you're bound to be expected to win a lot of balls in the air. But he drives forward, and he managed to get a lot of goals for Manchester City. And with that, I think alongside guys like Drogba, Zakora, and then his brother Kolo Toure at the back, and Kalou, the speed of Ivory Coast, if they keep it together and are organised, I think they could do well in this competition, considering this group is pretty tough to try and decide from. Japan are the other group, who are always organised. They're always a team that are very tough to break down. I think in their friendly games they managed to beat Belgium, which is a big factor considering Belgium are one of the highly tipped teams to do well in the World Cup. So Japan again, this is why it's so difficult to decide between these teams. I think Colombia will go through as a group leaders in this, but then with Japan, Greece and Ivory Coast, it's going to be a toss-up. I mean, it's going to be a tough competition. The first game is huge. I think Colombia will beat Greece, and then it's up to whoever wins that Ivory Coast and Japan game, I think could sneak by this group. My personal view is going to be that Ivory Coast is going to be the team to take it, with Drogba and Yaya Toure spearheading them through. So with that, I mean, Group C, it's a tough one to call, but as always, I'm your expert, so just go with what I say and put a bet on it. No, I'm only joking, but just stay tuned for more.